And now, it's time for An Audience with the Pope, featuring esteemed, distinguished, and renowned trial attorney, Anthony Pope.
Hey, Anthony,
it's
everyone...
worth a ride into New York just for that. I mean, all that traffic, that's what I come for, just for that.
The people are so jealous of that introduction. Where'd you get that for Anthony? I go, hey, he's been
Prince Harry heard that. He wants to go back to the royal family now. He's going to miss the trumpets.
I'll tell you, that was so great. People said, where can I get that introduction? I go, hey, Anthony, I
It's
don't...
for sale. Tell them
Yeah, we'll make it up for you. Anthony, great to see you,
to
man.
see you
Thanks
guys.
for coming in.
Yeah, of
Your
course.
case went well. You were in federal court.
Yeah, everything went well. Everything's going well. I got a big trial coming up March 2nd, but in Hudson County. But it's all good. It's all good.
My gosh,
all
you
good.
know, and my nephew Brett, we were talking about. We were with him over with my mom, and he goes and he prepares for the state. You know, he does those
He's with the
briefs.
Attorney
like that.
General, yeah.
Yeah. So when he's got to, because they try to sue the state.
Sure.
But how you do a brief now? When you prepare a brief and you got to defend somebody, you
Well, I
like
haven't
to-
done a brief in a long time.
You get somebody
Yeah, I
to do
have
it.
somebody-
But do
I
you?
have law
That's what I was
clerks
going to ask
and
you. But
Associates, yeah.
do you say-
I argue the motions, of course.
So you need.
But the writing, I haven't done that in quite some time.
Yeah, yeah.
That's tedious. It takes a lot. And I'll point out the issues, of course, and give it to the law clerk or the associate. But they'll actually write it, and then I'll review it, and I'll change it if I need to change certain things. But that's for the lawyers coming up, you know.
This
the
is
new
what
ones.
that's what I have Frankie Five Boroughs for when we do the news. I can go through. I can write the litany of headline news. I have Frank do it. It's it off to me. Hey, Anthony. So this whole bail reform situation in New York, and now it's going to be. It could be national too. You know, because this is like this is like an
Well, it's
impetus.
something whose time has come. I mean, there's no question. New Jersey did it last year. New York has now done it. New York and Jersey are a little bit different. But, Joe, look, what it does is it significantly in New York, it significantly curtails bail for most people except violent felonies. And that's what New York is about. New York has a couple exceptions. Domestic violence, if there's a parole violation, if you've proven that you're not coming to court before. But the criteria in New York is different than Jersey. New York really basically is taking a position, listen, if it's not a violent felony, we don't want you in jail. And if we're going to post bail, they also have a condition where they have to consider your affordability, whether or not you could afford the bail. Because it is true that bail prejudiced people who don't have money. I'm not saying it prejudiced people of color or Italians or Christians or blacks. It prejudiced people who don't have the money. If you have a misdemeanor and you have a $4,000 or $5,000 bail and you don't have $4,000 or $5,000, well, then you spend 2 or 3 years in jail while you're facing trial. And a lot of times the case is dismissed or they're found not guilty. Listen, we have a presumption of innocence in this country. And the point of bail is only for the most part, to ensure that you're coming back to simply answer for the charge. Okay? It's not intended to keep you in jail. So this pretrial detention was reviewed by New Jersey. New Jersey did it last year, and I think it's been working. Now, New Jersey's a little different, though, because we have a pretrial system where there's a criteria to determine your risk of danger to the community and your risk of flight. And judges get a score from pretrial services. And the score goes from...
In Jersey,
from 1 to 6. And then anywhere you are, the judge will hear arguments as to whether or not to let you out. So Jersey doesn't just exclude misdemeanors or other offenses. They look at the totality of it and the person and the prior prison record and things of that nature. New York is a little stronger in the sense of they have pretty much eliminated bail for misdemeanors and minor offenses.
When Joe spoke with Commissioner Bratton the other day, I mean, I think that's what he and other law enforcement professionals, the biggest problem they have with this is that it doesn't give the judges any discretion.
Exactly. It's different than
nothing.
New Jersey. Yeah.
They can't do anything.
And that's what's wrong with it, because you could really allow people out the door that just shouldn't be
which
out
is
the
happening.
door.
Which is happening.
It is.
So,
In New York, it's
you
different.
get this gal that assaulted this Jewish woman. She gets thrown in. She gets before the judge. The judge has to, by law, let her go, and no bail. She's out on the street. She does it all over again in California. Somebody just tweeted me. I can't find it, but somebody just tweeted me that somebody had his girlfriend had luggage taken from the car. Nothing happened to the people stealing luggage because it was under $1,000. Oh, it's just if it's under $1,000, we can't take the kid or whoever stole it to prison or hold them for bail. We let them back on. What's happened? It's like anarchy.
Well, look, there is such a thing as ROR, even in the federal system. And New Jersey tried to follow the federal system. The federal system is basically you are either released on your own recognizance with a unsecured bond for the most point. Sometimes it's secured, but most of the time it's unsecured, or you're detained. And the detention is determined based on the violent offense, if it is one, high drug crimes, weapons offenses, and looking at the past record of an individual. And probation will make a recommendation to the court and say, this person we believe is a risk of flight. This person is a danger to the community. And in those instances, once you overcome that presumption that the person should not be released, the courts will detain you. What happened in New Jersey, which was a good point of it, though, what they did, when they eliminated the bails for the most part, what they did do is they said, well, if we're going to detain you, though, you got to have a trial in a year. And that's fair. That's fair because if you're going to take away someone's presumption of innocence to some extent and you're going to detain them, you at least have to try them in a year. You have to bring them before a court and let a court of law and a jury decide whether or not they're guilty. New York is way far to the left with their Bail Reform Act. There's no question about it.
What's interesting, there's a story that just came out yesterday. Apparently, a man in Long Island, he gets charged with DWI, was released without bail on Monday following a car crash, killed somebody, right? He was released on January 1st after being arrested for allegedly not having a court-ordered ignition interlock device in his car. Apparently, this guy's had a history of DWI. He's got into accidents. He killed somebody. The judge, following the law, had to release him. The people, this kid who was killed, 27 years old, the parents at the hearing are seething that this guy is walking free. He's disregarding the law to begin with.
Sure.
So why wouldn't you just put him back in jail?
But that's the legislation.
Right.
And the judges are following it, but it's wrong. And New York has gone far too far to the left. Listen, if somebody has already shown that they're not willing to abide by the interlock device, that they're going to drink, that they're going to drive, what are you talking about, guys? Come on, let's get it together here.
He's had, listen to that, total of 6 felony convictions, 6 misdemeanor convictions, 5 failures to appear in court on other cases. Then he gets arrested in January 1st, gets let go because he didn't have the device in his car. A week later, he kills somebody.
No one followed up to see
crazy?
if anything was in the car.
But I'm just saying. No, obviously he didn't have it in the car.
Just what you said. No lawyer in Jersey would even argue for a release.
Right.
You basically just waived the argument.
Clearly, the guy doesn't care. Put him in jail.
Some judge would look at you like, what's happening here?
Right.
What, did you lose your mind?
Right. And that's why I don't understand how the legislature in New York doesn't see stories like this, and I'm sure they are. They're getting bombarded with it, and go, we need to change this law so that
they got
like that.
Anthony, what's a happy medium? Al's right, and
the happy medium, I think, is what New Jersey has.
Yeah.
Listen, have
the judge
a pretrial system where they evaluate the individuals. They look at their records. They look at their offenses. They look at past deeds. Have you appeared in court? Not appeared in court? Any violence? No. See, in New Jersey, in the federal system, you have pretrial services, which are people in probation that look at the facts, the offense, look at the background of the person, pull everything, and then put a recommendation together for the court. And then when we go into court as a defense lawyer, we get it. We see what the score is that somebody has. And if they are a danger to the community or a risk of flight, well, the judge will keep them in. And a lot of times the score sometimes is close because it goes from 1 to 6. The closer you get to 6, the less likely it is you're going to be released. And there, I think there's some fairness. And again, if you're detained, you got to try the case in a year. You got to get discovery out to the defense, and you can move along.
And then, before you go, Anthony, if I may, you were a cop at 19 years old, a Newark cop, one of the youngest cops ever in Newark, New Jersey. Now, Tish James, the AG in New York, is going after the NYPD. I don't know if you heard this story this morning, and saying that they are virtually, she said, they're profiling, racially profiling people who commit crimes in the subway. So if there is a high incident of crimes that are people of one denomination, one color, or another, the fact that the police are arresting these people just to keep the subway safe, The police are getting vilified for this. I mean, why are they? Why is somebody like Tish James, who's a very smart gal, by the way, politicizing this?
Well, I don't know why. I don't know how smart she is, but that's certainly not a smart statement.
Yeah.
Listen, if the police are monitoring crimes that occur and they are taking action, regardless of whether there's 4 whites and 2 African Americans or 4 African Americans and 6 Hispanic, it doesn't matter. If they're enforcing the laws, they're enforcing the laws.
Exactly.
There's a bigger problem, perhaps socioeconomic issues that we need to address, but you can't start asking police officers, what are they going to keep score?
That's right.
What are we going to have a tally?
Right.
We're going to arrest
Thank
so many
you.
Hispanics today, so many whites tomorrow. It's an absurd position to take. Absolutely absurd.
Yeah, you're right.
End of story.
Anthony Pope right there, an audience with the Pope, 9:30. And if you shake Anthony's hand, he won't slap it away. That's the kind of Pope this guy is. Anthony, thanks for being here.
Great
man.
being here, guys.
Anthony
Frank,
Pope right
Al,
there.
Joe, good
Love you,
being
man.
with you guys.
And,